Joining us now from LA, the authors of that article in The Hollywood Reporter, senior staff writer Daniel Miller and staff reporter Gary Baum. Daniel, Gary, good morning to you both.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
It's good to have you both on this morning. Let's go back 65 years ago, guys, and talk about this period. The Hollywood Reporter, the magazine, how big of a deal was it during this period of movie history?
It was a big deal. It was central to the business and what the business was about. The studio system was strong then, and it was key to the information flow. And Billy Wilkerson was central to how it controlled itself and how it saw itself.
You mentioned the founder, Billy Wilkerson, launching this search in Hollywood for communist sympathizers. Do we even know to this day his motivations? What was the reason why?
You know, it's interesting. We looked into Billy's motives for his anti-communism efforts, and it's a cloudy picture. We do know that Billy had aligned himself with the studio heads, and in that sense, in some ways, he was an extension of them. They were buying ads in the publication, and so he was alongside them, trumpeting this anti-communism rhetoric. Some historians have also suggested that Billy's background as a Catholic played a hand in this. Of course, anti-communism is anti-religion. So that's another idea, but I think the central idea here is that Billy Wilkerson wanted what was best for business, and there was some concern that if the country as a whole had a sense that there were leftists in Hollywood penning screenplays that were then going to be, turned into movies shown across the country, that would be bad for business.
But during this period of time, guys, there were others that were speaking out against communism as well, but Wilkerson seemed to have a little bit more power and influence. What was the reason behind that?
It was because of the reporter itself. He had a column that he used, a daily column called Trade Views, that he used as a bully pulpit. He presented himself as somebody at their level and set policy agenda on many things, from the coming of television to what was going to go well at the box office. People listened to Billy. So when the Blacklist was coming forth, and when the Red Scare was coming on, he was a voice that was, of course, going to be central to that conversation.
So you mentioned that scare, that period there with Senator Joseph McCarthy. How much of an influence did Wilkerson have on that period and the Hollywood Blacklist in total here?
A large one. Willie Wilkerson, his son, told us in our reporting that later on, when McCarthy was putting together some of his work, he dialed Billy Wilkerson and asked him how did he get some of his information. Billy kind of paved the way on doing some of this research and fomenting a lot of this work years earlier, before McCarthy began his crusade.
The Hollywood Reporter had a chance to speak to some of those that were living that were blacklisted. What was their reaction to the article and the formal apology?
You know, it's interesting. I got a chance to interview several people who had been blacklisted, people like Norma Barsman and Marcia Hunt and Walter Bernstein. And they were all very appreciative of the story. It's been a rare thing to have Hollywood as an industry recognize this period. So they were appreciative that the reporter was turning its lens on its own dark history. So far, reaction to the apology by Willie Wilkerson has been mixed. We've heard that some people have dismissed it, including Norma Barsman. Whereas we know that others who are blacklisted maybe have not formally accepted it, but appreciate the apology. And that's really for them to say. It's obviously such a personal issue and one that continues to be quite raw.
Before I let you guys go, it's been 65 years here, and it took the Hollywood Reporter just until now to address the magazine's role in the blacklist. What took you guys so long? What took the magazine so long to address the issue?
Sure. Well, it's important to point out that there's new ownership at the Hollywood Reporter. The magazine was purchased in 2010 by a company called Prometheus Global Media, and that has really been a clean break from previous eras. That's allowed us to have a fresh perspective on our own history. And it is worth pointing out that counter to that, at the 50th anniversary of the blacklist, a reporter at the Hollywood Reporter had attempted a story that probably was very similar to what we completed last week. And he wrote the story and took it to his editor, and the story was not run. The publication chose not to run it. So 15 years ago, this was too raw. So 15 years later, we're happy that we can share this story.
And we are glad to have you guys both on to share it with us this morning. From the Hollywood Reporter, senior staff writer Daniel Miller and staff reporter Gary Baum joining us this morning. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You can read more about the Hollywood Blacklist in the November 30th issue of the Hollywood Reporter.